Hey everybody, welcome to Foodie Fatty. Tonight we're going to be experimenting with compound butters. I have 3 different recipes that we're going to check out, and we're going to be serving those up with some chuck steak and of course Merlot. Alright everybody, so the first compound butter that we're going to be making tonight is your regular standard lemony, garlicky kind of compound butter. Okay, so I had to make a lot of substitutions tonight. Yes, I have a tripod now. Makes it a lot easier. I had to make some substitutions tonight because it's crazy, because it seems like every grocery store we went to didn't have what we were looking for. So because for butter, so I have plenty of butter. You can also make your own homemade butter if you'd like. And I think you take like a heavy cream and churn it until it separates and you get your buttermilk and then butter. But tonight we're keeping it simple and we got our own butter right from the store. So, butter. The recipe calls for parsley. Could not find fresh parsley. I have plenty of dry parsley, but we want fresh. So I went with cilantro, which is just as tasty. I think this and parsley are equally as good, so it won't bother me. But if you guys want to stick to the recipe, then get fresh parsley. We have a white onion. Garlic. I just bought the bag that already had the garlic peeled and ready to go. I also got minced garlic. So these two will work just fine. Lemon juice. Ran out of lemons. And usually I have a little jug of lemon and lime juice. Ran out of that, so I did have a few limes that are about dead. But the juice is still fine, so I'm just going to use, it only calls for a little bit, so I'm just going to use the juice of probably like half of this. Worcestershire sauce. Can never say this. Worcestershire sauce, salt, and pepper. Now tonight, I'm going to be using this seasoning here is the Everglades seasoning that another YouTuber that I follow a lot, Deer Meat for Dinner. He uses this a lot. He swears by it. So we're trying it out tonight. We ordered it. It's finally here. You get 2 big 16-ounce jugs of this all-purpose seasoning. It's almost like seasoning salt, but a completely different taste. You get 2 jugs of these, and we get paid about 25 bucks. All right, so we're going to get started getting this compound butter number 1 started. And then we're going to move on to compound butter number 2. Wine tonight is Gallo Merlot. Yeah, I got the big bottle because we're going to be using some of that wine for one of the compound butter recipes. So I had to get a big jug because, you know, I got to have enough for me, of course. Okay, everybody, hope you guys can see this nice and clear. Here I have my NutriBullet cup here. That's what I'm going to be processing our first compound butter in. So we're going to start off with some fresh, rinsed, cleaned cilantro, stems and all, going into the cup. I'm going to only use a portion of the, I just cut off a small portion, like a quarter of the onion. Let me show you here. I just cut off about a quarter of the onion, and I'm going to use half of that, so about 1/8, I guess. And we're going to drop that into the cup with the cilantro. Now I have here, what are these things called? A juicer for lemon and lime juice. So I'm going to put half of my lime in there, and I'm just going to squeeze that juice right in. And it looks like we're actually, this is a very small lime, so it looks like we're going to actually need that other half too. So I'm going to go ahead and put the other half in there and squeeze the rest of that juice right on in. Yes, this lime has seen better days, but like I said, it's still, the juice is still okay inside. I've already used these in this condition before, and they're just fine to me. All right, so into this. I'm sorry, guys, I don't have the direct measurements, so we're just eyeballing everything. But I want this compound butter, the butter to be nice and garlicky, so I'm going to drop in, let's see, we have 6 garlic cloves, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 whole garlic cloves right into the mixture there. Now I'm going to add in a few dashes of our Worcestershire sauce. Oh, I love the smell of Worcestershire sauce. Can you guys smell it? Yes, beautiful. All right, so what we're going to do is just add a few splashes of our Worcestershire sauce. I'm going to say maybe about 1 tablespoon. We don't want too much because that is a powerful sauce there. Okay, we're going to add a little bit of our ground black pepper. Now, normally I'd add salt in here, but I believe our Everglades seasoning here, since it's an all-purpose seasoning, it probably does have quite a bit of salt in it. Let's see, 310 milligrams of sodium, so it does have some kind of salt. Ingredients: salt, spices, monosodium glutamate. Oh, Lord. Didn't know it had that in it. We're trying to stay away from stuff like that, but hey. One side is the big mouth to share. One side not to share. Oh, look at that. One little hole. Usually you have several. Right, so I'm going to put a nice generous amount in there. I would say like maybe 2 tablespoons because we want this garlic butter or garlic citrus butter to be nice and seasoned. Okay, so now we have 2 sticks of softened butter here. Now that's 8 ounces. So what I'm going to do, I think I'm only going to use 6 ounces of this. So we're just going to take one of the butter sticks. Okay. I'm going to take a clean knife and we're just going to kind of chop that up so everything blends well. And I'm just going to take half of this because I want to have enough butter where I can save some of this. I'm going to use some for our steaks tonight. We're going to cut in half and then quarters. There we go. All right, and then we'll save this other one for a different butter. So we're going to get ready to just grind this down until it's nice and smooth. Everybody, so we have our first butter, and I'm going to dump it out of here because it separates from the liquid. Okay, it separates from all liquid. I had to add a little extra liquid into the NutriBullet because it wasn't spinning. The mixture was a little too thick. So you want to try to get all, and I also changed blades. I think the blade I had on at first just wasn't sharp enough. So my husband came and helped me realize that. So we changed the blades. You know what? The Everglades seasoning adds so much extra flavor because it's packed with herbs. So we're going to go ahead and put this away in the fridge and let it chill. And we're going to clean up and get started on herb butter number 2. So the second compound butter that we're going to be making is our anchovy compound butter. Now this is a very simple recipe. It only consists of 5 ingredients, and that's the butter, garlic, 1 anchovy, salt, and pepper. So we're not going to be using the Everglades seasoning in this recipe because I don't want it to overpower with the garlicky or herby flavor, because I want each compound butter to have its own unique flavor. So we want to make sure that that anchovy flavor stands out. So we're going to just go ahead and use our just regular salt and pepper. Now the Everglades seasoning is very delicious, but it's going to add a very strong herb flavor to whatever you put it to. All right, so let's see. So that half a stick of butter that we had left over from the other compound butter, we're going to go ahead and add it to the cup. And we're just going to add any excess butter. I'm just going to go ahead and... So you want to make sure your butter is nice and soft when you put it in. I'm just going to set it over here on top of the stove. It's not on, but it is generating a little bit of heat because I had the oven on earlier. So we're going to pretend that all the butter is in here. Okay. Now we're going to add to this recipe. I'm going to go ahead with the same amount of garlic cloves I added to the previous recipe. We're going to do 6. This recipe calls for 1 anchovy. We found these anchovies at our local butcher. These are wild caught. The brand is King Oscar, and they're anchovy fillets that are in olive oil. Look at those. Now, as a kid, and still to this day, I do not like anchovies. My dad loved to put anchovies on the pizza. I do not like anchovies on pizza. The person that I got this idea from says that the anchovy flavor is very, you can't even taste it. So we're just going to put 1 anchovy fillet. And just be careful because it does have quite a bit of oil in it. All right, so there's our 1 anchovy fillet going into the cup. We're going to add our salt and pepper. Here's a little pepper. A lot of pepper, actually. We're going to add a nice, maybe about teaspoon and a half of salt. That anchovy is probably pretty salty. So we don't want to do too much, okay? So as soon as this other butter softens, we're going to add that to the cup, and we're going to blend this up and put it in the refrigerator so it gets set. So stay tuned. There we go. Come on. All right, guys. So we got compound butter number 2. This is our anchovy, garlic, salt, pepper, butter compound. Very simple recipe. Okay, so we are going to put the lid on this and pop this into the refrigerator so it can also set and be ready to broil. Okay, guys, so here we have our little cup here. We're going to be adding in the rest of that white onion that we had from earlier. To this, we're going to add just 4 garlic cloves. 2 and 4. We're going to be adding a little bit of fresh rosemary. You can also do dried, but in this case, we're going to do some fresh. Rosemary is very strong, so I'm just going to use a small sprig like that. And even this may be too much. But like I said, we're eyeballing everything tonight. And I will give you a link to the video that I got these ideas from. Because they actually do 4 compound butters. And one of them are going to like blow your mind. Like, what in the world made you want to do that? We didn't do that butter, but I will send you a link to the video so you can check it out. He has a really great channel. He cooks everything sous vide. His channel is called Sous Vide Everything. And like I said, the link will be in the description box. Then you can check it out and see if you want to also try some of his recipes. Okay, everybody. And in this bowl, I have 1 cup of red wine. Now, this happens to be Gallo. This is Gallo Merlot, 1 cup. And we're going to cook that down until all the alcohol is cooked out of the wine. Okay, everybody. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go ahead and add those herbs and spices. I didn't chop them up yet. We're just going to go ahead and add them to the wine because that alcohol is starting to cook out. And we're just going to let the garlic and the onions and everything just kind of It's not gonna cook really in there. We just want everything to get saturated and nice and blended. All right, everybody. So as you can see here, I have the second part to our red wine compound butter. So I have 1 stick of butter in here just waiting as the rest of the ingredients cool down. Now to this, I was just going to do salt and pepper, but I think I'm going to go ahead and add this seasoning here. This is a Goya salad and vegetable seasoning, which is really tasty. It goes good on all kinds of vegetables, but I find that it goes good on everything, especially meat. Looks like our wine reduction has cooled down enough where we can go ahead and add it to this last stick of butter. So I'm going to try to be careful and not make a mess. Yeah, I'm going to make a mess. Yeah. We're going to get that all blended up. Okay, you guys did not know this, but as I was preparing the last compound butter, I took our chuck steaks and I portioned them out. There were 2 very large chuck steaks, about medium slice, medium thickness. So you know that bone that runs through there is not very even, so I just pretty much had to cut that bone out, and there's a lot of like pieces, so I tried to cut them as best I could into like a steak form. But chuck steak is it can be tough. So what I did is I cut it up and I placed it into this pan here with a little salt water, and I'm kind of steeping these steaks so they'll tenderize. So by the time I'm ready to broil them, when they're done, they'll be good and tender. Okay, everybody, so we're going to be cooking these chuck steaks 2 different ways. If you see here, over there, I have some of the pieces that broke off. I'm going to be browning those on each side, and then we're going to melt a little bit of each butter on some of the pieces at the end once they're ready. But these are some of the, so this is some of the meat that I was able to kind of cut into more like a steak form. The chuck steak was so, the way it was cut was very awkward, so I have to try to improvise and, you know, cut it into what looked like steak. So I have 4 pieces there, but I do have 3 different butters, so we'll count this middle one as 1 steak. So these 2 pieces will get the same butter. This one piece will get 1 butter, and this last piece will get the other butter. So I'm going to just try, actually let's start in order the way we made this butter. So we started with the garlic butter and this steak here. All right. Then here we're going to put the anchovy butter on this steak here. And this is our red wine butter. It just came out a little bit more creamier in texture than the other butters. Flip these because they're already starting to brown. They're already cooked. We just want to give them that nice brown crust on the outside. All right, guys, so we're going to go ahead and get our compound butter steaks into the oven, and they're going to cook. Let's see, we'll broil these for about a good 10 to 15 minutes. All right, everybody, so here we have our 3 different types of butter steaks. We have our garlic herb, red wine, and then we have the anchovy. Now these are just the chuck steak pieces. Alright, so I'm going to do a quick taste test And then we're going to have hubby do a taste test to see what he thinks. And I will just share that with you guys in the description. Alright, so let's give it a try. We're going to start with the regular garlic and herb butter steak, chuck steak. Very good, very flavorful. The steak is perfect. It's got a nice crunch on the outside, but it's nice and tender on the inside. Very good. The regular garlic herb steak is very good. I like that one. Alright, moving on to the red wine. Now this little piece here is it's pretty well done. It's nice and crunchy on the outside. That's why I like mine, so let's see. That was very nice and crunchy on the outside. Almost tastes like a piece of bacon. Okay, let's move on to the last one. Anchovy. Now, this is a nice juicy piece because this piece was thicker than the other two. So. The steak is very good, juicy, tender, with a nice crunch. But the butter, it's not as flavorful as I thought it would be with the anchovy. It's a little, it's like milder in flavor than the other two. I have to say right now, one of the most flavor is the first one, the garlic herb butter. But overall, they're all very tasty. And we still have the steaks in the oven to try too, so we'll probably try those later on as a dinner plate. But I just wanted to give you guys a little mukbang so you guys could see, you know, what the flavors were, and give a description and everything. But they're very good. I'm gonna give you a link to the video that I got this idea from, and I recommend that you guys give it a try. I recommend that you do it with a nice ribeye or like a New York strip steak. That would be very nice. You could get that full, nice, meaty, juicy, tender flavor and texture from those types of steaks. But this is good. This is chuck steak. Like I said, it's a lower grade cut, but if you tenderize it right, season it well, it could be very delicious, and it is. So give it a try. Alright guys, so thank you for watching. Again, it's another foodie fatty episode. It's just a compound butter experiment, and I hope you guys give it a try and share it with your family and friends. Alright, love you guys.